What's going on YouTube? My name is Joshua Wade. I want to thank you for taking the time to check this video out, and today I'm going to go over 7 quick tips inside of Logic, whether you're just starting out with it or you're coming from another DAW. These will help you out a lot and alleviate a lot of frustration I know that I had with Logic first out of the gate. So step 1, the first thing we want to do is go up to Logic Pro, go down to Preferences, and then General, and over here at the Advanced tab, you're going to want to select Enable Complete Features, because if you do not have that selected, a lot of these features that I'm going to show you will not pop up. So just go ahead and click Enable Complete Features. And after you've done that, we will hop into a couple more settings. So the first setting that I want to show you guys is the Marquee Tool Click Zone. And basically what that is most DAWs, if you scroll over to the side of like an audio file, you can see, of course we can stretch this out, shorten it, do whatever, but your crossfades and your fades, this right here is a tool that some of you might be thinking, holy cow, how do you get that? Well, it's not stock in Logic, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So just go up to Logic Pro, Preferences, and General. You don't have to go to General, but I always go to General. So if you go to Editing, right here, Fade Tool Click Zones, if I don't have that selected, it doesn't show up. So no matter what, this is the stock setting of Logic. So again, just go up to Logic Pro, Preferences, General, and then click your Fade Tool Click Zones. And there's one more setting I want to show you while we're in here. If I select the Marquee Tool Click Zones, I can actually go, and you see how my cursor is a cursor? If I scroll down, it turns into my Marquee tool. Some of you might like that. That's very similar to how Studio One works. I originally started doing that, but then I kind of like Logic's way of doing it a little bit better. And I'll show you another setting that'll kind of help you out. If I hold Command, it turns into my Marquee tool. And how you change that is right here. Once you enable your advanced features, you can actually click the tool that you want to use. And this comes in so handy when you get later down the road, when you get into really deep editing, like your automation and stuff like that. This comes in so handy. So I always select my Marquee tool. So whenever I hit Command, or if I hold Command down, I can highlight anything. It's just so much of an easier workflow for me personally. But again, experiment, try a couple different ways and see which way works for you. Okay, the next tip I want to show you guys, or at least not so much of a tip, is just something to kind of keep an eye on. Logic's Snap to feature works a little bit different. That's how you turn it off, that's how you turn it on. I have mine set up to Snap to Grid, obviously beat Snap to Regions, or Snap Regions to absolute value. This way I can go down and I can select what value I want it to snap to, whether it be 16s, 30 seconds, and so, etc., etc. So that's this is not the stock way. It usually has it set to Smart and then Snap Regions to relative value, which works, I'd say 80% of the time, but I don't use that personally because sometimes it'll snap to things I don't want it to snap to. So I would rather have the beat set, so that way I know exactly, hey, I'm copying exactly this. Because if you have the Smart tool selected, sometimes it'll grab like a 16th or a 30-second extra or shorter than what you actually wanted. And then later when you paste it where you want it, it'll really kind of mess you up, because you'll hear something that'll be offbeat a little bit and you can't figure it out, and that's usually what happens. So the next tip is auto input monitoring. And for those of you who have record arm something and then select your input monitoring, if you've got an artist that just wants to do a couple passes and not record, as soon as I hit play on the stock features, as soon as I hit play, they're not going to be able to hear themselves. Even if I have it record armed and the input monitoring selected, they still won't be able to hear themselves. Just to practice to it, they won't be able to hear themselves until you actually hit record. Now, how to change that is, if you see up here on the right, I've got auto, and this one's for software. Let me see if it'll show me. It's not showing me. Well, this is for plugin input monitoring. Okay, software monitoring. There you go. And then this is for auto input monitoring. So I have these shortcuts set up, and I'll show you how to do that right now. Just click this little down arrow, go to Customize Control Bar and Display. Here are your settings under Modes and Functions, Software Monitoring, and Auto Input Monitoring. Stock, I think you might see something that looks a little bit like that. This is a big game changer for me whenever I figured this little trick out. And then after you select those, just click Save as Default. So that way, anytime you open a new session, these will automatically be there. As a matter of fact, anytime you want to customize that menu, always click Save as Default once you get a layout that you like. If you'll notice, mine's a little bit different than yours. You can set yours up however you want to set it up, but always hit Save as Default so that way any new session you create, it'll have your default layout. So moving on to the next simple setting that you wouldn't think about, but it can absolutely drive you crazy, are your playhead settings. So the way that mine is set up, if I hit play, you can see it playing, and if I hit stop, my playhead stops where I hit stop. But if I hit play again, it goes back to where I had it last set. It returns to my start location on my stop. The reason I do this way is because if we're working on something, like when me and my buddy Brandon were putting this beat together, like say we were right here and he says, okay, I want the hook to come in a couple more beats, it's just so much easier to say, okay, here it comes in. If you're working with an artist on the fly, okay, right there, I want it to come in. Okay, so I hit stop. Well, my playhead stays there. Now I can grab this and I can set it there. Like, oh, okay, you want it to come in right here? Yeah, that's where I want it to come in. So we were able to put the marker there and, you know, set the beat up the way that he wanted it. And how to do that is you just long hold on play, and this is the setting. By default, you've got play from cycle and play from marquee selection. This is the addition that I added, play from last locate position. And that way, whenever I hit play, hit stop, it'll stop, hit play, and it starts back over. So that's just a little quick tip for you on the playhead. So the last tip that I want to show you guys that's going to be really more of a time saver than anything are your track color settings and your marker settings, your marker color settings. By default, your markers will automatically set to this gray, every one of them, and you'll have to go through, you'll have to hit Option C and change the color manually, which is not a big deal, but just as a little time-saving measure. So you'll go up to Logic Pro, scroll down to Preferences, and under General, I always go to General, you don't have to go to General, but I do anyway, and then under Display, under your Tracks tab, you can auto assign, this is for your track color, you can auto assign 24 colors or 96 colors. I always go with 24 because there's more of a variation, and what that means is anytime you add a new track, it'll change the color from the default green to a different one. It goes to like I think a lighter shade of green, then a lighter shade, then a lighter shade. These have I've all changed these myself. But your region color, set this, default it's set to individual, set it as track color, and what that does is anytime I change one of the colors over here, it's going to change the color of all the audio or the MIDI that's on that track. It's just such a time saver. And now back to your marker colors. Auto assign 24 colors or 96 colors. Same thing, you have more of a variation if you select 24 colors. So this way, anytime you add a new marker, it's going to change colors. Actually, these three right here, these brown colors and this up to this green, it automatically did that. It didn't default to the gray for me. It automatically changes. Alright guys, so those are 7 Logic Pro tips that you might want to know whether you're just getting started or if you're coming from another DAW. Hopefully this helped you guys out. If you got anything out of this video, continued support is greatly appreciated. So just hit that subscribe button and I will be posting more tutorials on Logic Pro, gear reviews, and just nerding out, talking about just really cool stuff, new plugins and whatnot. And yeah, again, continued support is greatly appreciated. And remember guys, it's called music theory, not music fact. Have a good one.